There's been a lot of talk over the last 2 years about taking shots because we trust the rabbis or trust the doctors, which is funny in a sense because many of the people making these arguments are not those who run to rabbis with shilas on every little question. These are people who have internet, they have smartphones, they don't exactly study Torah all day, they're not the most God-fearing people, and they tend to mock Jews that do run to rabbis with questions on every little thing, but all of a sudden they're so machmir and so from when it comes to taking shots and wearing masks and closing down the shuls and the schools that they suddenly trust all the experts. Leaving aside even the double standards, these people also claim that we have to just trust the rabbis, no questions asked, and even if and we can't even listen to the other side because we're not capable of determining the truth. We're not capable of determining who's right and who's wrong when it comes to Torah matters or scientific/medical matters. In this week's parsha, we have the mitzvah of Navi Sheker, meaning that we have to identify to be able to tell the difference between a true prophet and a false prophet and execute the latter. The Torah says that at times Hashem will even give power to a false prophet to do signs and wonders, and yet we still have to identify based on his message and his methods that he is a false prophet and execute him. Now, this is not a mitzvah only for the rabbis and the greatest scholars of the time. This is a mitzvah incumbent upon every Jew to be able to tell the difference between who is telling the truth and who is not. We all have to be educated to the extent and critical thinkers to the extent that we can determine truth from falsehood. We can't just throw up our hands and count votes or see who has the loudest voice and say that person is telling the truth, this is the greatest expert, therefore we just have to trust him. That is antithetical to everything the Torah teaches us, and in fact it's going against the mitzvah of Navi Sheker. Now it's true that these are not real prophets or false prophets, but the general idea of the mitzvah is that we have to tell the difference between truth and falsehood. This is an obligation upon all of us. The only way to do it is to daven to Hashem, to study the Torah, to educate ourselves, to think for ourselves, and then we have to have faith that Hashem will guide us in the right direction if we're actually seeking the truth.